Okay, as you can see, I've changed a few things. First off, I gave that cowboy back his cigarette and I carved a cigar for this guy because I thought I'd call him the General. And by doing that, I can paint a few stars across the front of the helmet here, make it look pretty neat, and also put some stars on his collar there. I also carved a little base for him here, like this one here. It's very simple, so I just went ahead and carved it, because if you can carve the face, you can certainly carve that. All I did was cut me out a little round block, about, maybe an inch and a half thick, and then just rounded it to where it looks like a collar, and he'll have sort of an ascot here, okay? And then with a piece of dowel, short piece of dowel, not sure what size this is, it's like about a 1/4 inch or so. There's the size right there, 5/16. And a cork. These are little corks. You can find them on the internet. Just search for bottle topper corks or whatever. They come with a hole already drilled in. They're a little bit larger than this, not much, but just a little bit, so you might have to squeeze a little extra glue in there. Anyway, I cut me off a short piece, enough to go down into the cork, and still enough left over that would come up into the base here to give me a nice solid hold. And then I whittled down my neck to fit in there, like that. So once that's glued together, it'll make it easy. It makes a good looking bottle stopper, especially once they're painted. Okay? Now, I might also add a couple of straps hanging down from his helmet. I'll probably do that on that one too. And you can make those just out of some thin pieces of wood you have. Don't have any over here. You just take them up and cement them inside the helmet, like that. And a good piece of good wood to use for straps and things like that is tupelo. This is a thin piece of tupelo. You can't carve tupelo with a knife very easy at all. It just will not carve. But you can use a chisel or something just to, get rid of the sawed lines, and then get you a ruler and just cut off the strip you want. And if you get get it down to be a thin strip, just cut your strips, always allow for excess, put them in a bag with a little water to where they're good and soaked, and put them in the microwave for a little bit, not very long, just 10 seconds or so, until they get real pliable. And you can literally tie this stuff in a knot, so you can really form it to kind of come out like that a lot easier, and it just will not break. It is tough stuff, but like I say, you can't carve it. It just will not carve. Decoy carvers use it because they say it holds detail real well when they're burning. Okay, now where were we? So anyway, he's finished carving wise. We're done with it. So now what I'm going to do is burn some of the highlight lines in it that I always do with my carvings. So that's what we're going to do right now. Now Judy, if she'll switch around here and show my little detailer here, this is a cheap deal here I bought years and years and years and years ago, and it's served me fine during all that period. I think it's I forget who makes it. The name's gone. It's Coldwood. Coldwood makes it. I think they're a little more expensive now than they used to be, but it's a good little unit. It serves my purpose. Doesn't have to be that fast. So we'll turn it on here. Got my tip here. This tip is just a little chisel tip. It's getting about right down to the point where it's going to bust one of these days, and then I'll have to chuck in a new one. I always wet it down to where, not wet, not W-E-T, but W-H-E-T, to where I've got a sharp surface to work with this thing, so it cuts a nice line. Alright, so I don't need to worry about the helmet. And on this here, all I have to do is just go up here and make a couple marks like that. If you have any little fuzzy areas left inside that you weren't able to get to them with a knife, this thing will generally burn those up, and then you can move on. Anyway, that's all I do there. I still have to carve some lines around there to make it look like a ascot. On the face, get rid of my cigar, put it up somewhere where I won't get lost, and I know that they always get lost. Just lightly burn down. Don't get overboard with this burning, because if you're not careful, it can get away with you and you really mess up your piece. What this does, what this burning does, it just highlights the detail of the piece. I'm not burning everything. I'm just showing you different areas where I go to burn. Just put a little burn mark right there. And just start in here and come out real lightly, just like that. Don't need much, like that. On the eyes up here. Maybe a couple on his crease line, down on the lower eye. It just doesn't take much to do. Like I say, don't go overboard on it, because if you do, you're going to end up with a mess, and then your carving's just not going to look good. So that's all I do there, okay? So, put him back together here. But you can see how those burn lines really set it off. Oh, here, and on the beard, forgot to show you that. A lot of people used to use a little V-gouge, and they would gouge out beard marks on the side and chin and everything like that. Well, when you reduce something down to this side here, that's going just a little bit overboard. All you really need to do is with the very tip of your burning pin, just lightly just make some marks. Don't make too many, and stay within the area of the beard where it would be. And you get that unshaven appearance. You don't want to make your lines long like that up there. keep just the point of your pin, and then also make sure you go right on down underneath anywhere the beard grows, maybe even down on the neck if that's part of that's going to show, and you get a good beard looking appearance. Like this guy here, he looks good and unshaven. So, you know, right down on the neck, even underneath there. Because someone always picks it up and they look down underneath there. I remember once I lost a sale of a carving because someone looked underneath there, and because I don't have one here. Anyway, on the blank, when I cut it out, wouldn't you know it, I don't have anything to show you that what I'm talking about. Here you go. In the blank, when I cut it out, they picked that thing up, and they really liked that carving, and then they turned it up like that, and that's what they saw. And they said, well, we don't want that one. So don't leave any uncarved marks on your carvings, okay? So now, real quickly, what I'm going to do is I'm going to cut off a bottle top. I know I just put a video on the internet showing you how to make a bottle cutter and everything. But that video, I didn't associate it with this series, so eventually it's probably going to get lost back there and is separated from this series. So I'll just show you again how easy it is. And in that other video, I give you the dimensions and everything, how to make your own. There's 100 different bottle cutters out there on the internet. It's just going to be up to you which one you want to try out. I like to fiddle around and make things for myself, so that's what I did. So anyway, that's what we're going to do. Okay, we're over here at my bottle cutter. Like I said in that other video, it shows you how to make one of these if you want to try your hand at it. Here's one I cut off just the other day. And here's a bottle that I'm going to use to cut off one now. Now they're little different shapes, but they're basically all the same. So when you lay it out, it should be okay. You might have to make a few adjustments. So what I need to do this is I got my bottle cutter. I just put a little drop of oil up there on the tip, so that's going to work good. I've got me a container of cold water here and some matches. And I like to use a towel when I'm busting this thing, so if it doesn't work exactly right, I'm not going to get cut. So I just lay my bottle down here on the cradle, make sure it rubs up against that cutter, and then holding it in there firmly and pressing down on it a little bit, just go around it. And that sound you hear, and you can see the cut line going around that bottle. Right like that. There. I always go around twice. Okay? So there we have a cut line going around the neck of the bottle. Now I'm going to get me a match out here, and I'm going to heat up that cut. And then if everything works the way it's supposed to, when I drop it in that water, it's going to fracture right at that line. So we'll just heat that cut up. Usually just a match length will do it, I hope. Now I just stick it down in there. Take it out. Wrap it up in a towel. Still didn't do it yet. I'm going to heat that up again. Why is it that it always doesn't work when you're doing something? I've cut off a ton of bottles and never had any problem. And the day I decided to demonstrate it worldwide, it doesn't work. This don't work. I'm going to get up my butane torch. Please work. There it went. So we throw that out there. And there's the top of the bottle. See there? Worked like a champ. And like I mentioned in that video, the Forstner bit of, I think it's about 1.25 inches, I believe, is just about the same that's 1.5 inches, excuse me. So if you go down to the hardware shop, you don't need to buy a whole set of Forstner bits. You can just get you one that matches your bottle. And you just drill a hole in the top of your little block, put some silicone down in there around the bottom edge, and set that down in there, and it will lock it permanently in place for your bottle. Okay? So, in the next video, I will have the carving completely burned, and we will take it over to the paint table and start applying some paint to that fella. So until then, I'll talk to you later.